the length of the sentence.
That number did not speak to evidence, nor did it speak to justice. I am overcome with anger at that number. I think that number is a cowardly number to give.
Testifying on Capitol Hill, NIH Chief Anthony Fauci says the worst is yet to come regarding the coronavirus. During a House hearing, Dr. Fauci says he would not try to predict the extent or duration of the crisis. The turbulence on Wall Street continues as the Dow has been down by more than 1,100 points at times, erasing almost all of Tuesday's gains. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
This is sponsored by Accenture. The 20th Annual Technology Vision Report from Accenture shows that although people are embedding technology into their lives more than ever before, organizations' attempts to meet their needs and expectations can fall short. Michael Biltz, Managing Director of the Accenture Technology Vision.
In a world where digital technology is everywhere, there's a tech clash between businesses and the technology models that aren't aligned with people's needs and expectations. To move forward, a new approach is required. Organizations need to focus on balancing their drive to create business value with their customers' and employees' values.
The report is based in part on a survey of more than 8,000 business executives and consumers. It identifies the key tech trends that will impact businesses over the next 3 years and counsels companies on how best to address the opportunities and challenges ahead. For more, please visit accenture.com/technologyvision. That's accenture.com/technologyvision.
The CDC has a listeria warning for folks who eat mushrooms. With the details, here's USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes.
A warning about a certain kind of mushroom that could be transmitting listeria. Federal health officials say 36 people in 17 states have become ill from eating enoki mushrooms. 4 of those who were sickened were pregnant women. 4 people have died in California, Hawaii, and New Jersey. These mushrooms have long, thin white stems and small caps and are usually sold in clusters. The batches that tested positive for listeria are imported from Korea by Sun Hong Foods in Montebello, California.
The State Department is releasing its annual report on global human rights. Speaking with reporters, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says nothing is more fundamental than the rights of human beings.
We all know the rights of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness don't just belong to Americans. They belong to everyone, everywhere.
And you're listening to USA Radio News.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-215-5141. 800-215-5141. That's 800-215-5141.
Some musicians are canceling their shows due to the coronavirus outbreak. With more, here's USA Radio Network's Wendy King.
Pop star Miley Cyrus is canceling her Friday benefit show in Australia because of an official warning about the coronavirus. She said despite the cancellation, she'll still be making a donation to help the victims of the Australian brushfire. Cyrus was briefly married to Australian actor Liam Hemsworth. They lost their home in California during a wildfire in 2018. Just hours after Cyrus canceled her concert, organizers said next month's Coachella and Stagecoach music festivals in California will be postponed until October. The Coachella lineup included Travis Scott, Frank Ocean, and Rage Against the Machine. Scheduled to perform at Stagecoach Country Festival, Carrie Underwood, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Eric Church. Green Day, Ciara, and Mariah Carey are also rescheduling their shows.
Former members of the Wells Fargo Executive Board are testifying before the House on the bank's consumer abuses that led to executives resigning. Former Wells Fargo Chairman of the Board, Elizabeth Duke, says transformational changes are underway.
Transformational changes are getting traction inside the company with strong new leadership and management. I believe that today the company has the right team and path forward to be fully deserving of the trust customers place in us every day.
For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
morning. I'm so happy to be here this morning on this beautiful Wednesday, Christian. It's absolutely gorgeous. Could feel the warmth on my face driving in.
It's almost like every Wednesday is beautiful just for us.
That's right, because we have the best show here on America Matters, and we're the fastest growing show. We want to welcome Jeffrey out there in Uganda. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. I know it's nighttime where you are, and we appreciate that you're here with us today. And along with me today is Christian Meyer, my co-host. We always have a great time on air together. And don't forget, if you can't join us live, there's always a recorded version available. You can find that on americamatters.us. And later in the show, we're going to be announcing another keyword. And so be sure to listen for that.
And you're wearing your sweatshirt today?
I did. This is probably my favorite one. It's got a little bit of foil work on it and everything. And I thought I'd wear one today so people can see the variation, you know?
There you go, yeah.
And it's comfy. It's good to sport around. It's a perfect day for just a hoodie. So I like having a pocket. I can stick my phone in there, my keys when I just run into the store instead of, fumbling with a purse. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about training and instruction and the role of instructional design.
It's a mouthful.
Yes. We'll be discussing how training and instructional design go hand in hand. To perform business functions, they kind of go hand in hand. It's like your gameplay for your training. That's basically what instructional design. It's kind of like a business plan. This is how I'm going to plan out this training, and you tweak it along the way. And that's where the technology part comes in with that.
Plan your work your plan.
That's right. And if you'd like to donate to our airtime, you can do that at afdesigns.online. We appreciate anything you can do to help us. It helps us get our hoodies to people, pays for airtime, and you help support a great show that gets good information out to folks.
And it helps us spread the message worldwide, not only through Facebook, but the podcasts as well.
Yes, we're so blessed to have all those platforms. And I saw a post from Jake Jimrick out there in Warsaw, Indiana. I put it on our Business Connections with Anita Facebook page. If you have a chance, take a look at that and take a read. People can be so cruel. He wrote in that post that people walk up to him and say, "Hey, I got a kidney for you."
Ugh.
And he's in dire need, and so that's not very humorous.
No, people can be, especially online, people can be mean and behind the anonymity of their keyboards, but he is looking for a kidney. He needs a kidney, and obviously that's something that he's taking seriously, and we're taking seriously as well.
Yeah, and you can find more information on afdesigns.online. You can go to the on the road interviews to see an interview I did with a couple men out there in Dayton, Nevada, and they were getting a transplant, and one was a donor, so you can get more information from the horse's mouth. And then maybe we can help Jake out there in Indiana. He is on the Minnesota and Indiana list for a donor. So, but Christian, after the Great Recession, a whole lot of people lost a whole lot of things, and I wanted to better my future. So I decided I'd go and check out accredited colleges. And I found myself going to one out of Chicago, Illinois, American Intercontinental University.
Okay.
Started with a bachelor's in business. The first one. But everybody gets.
Right. A BA.
Yeah. And then I went on to a bachelor's in visual communications, was the total goal. And about halfway through that, I was the instructor was pretty tough, And we do a chat kind of like we do here with America Matters with our Facebook folks. We'd listen to the instructor, and then we'd type in questions or comment with other students. It was really interactive like that. And she told me I should go on to my master's and teach graphic design. And I'm like, And I checked into it. It was only 8 more months. It was, an accelerated course.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Most people want a master degree, so might as well just bite the bullet and go ahead and do that. Little did I know in the first 5 weeks what the heck they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were learning learning behaviors, the different types of learning styles. There's a lot of language. I thought I was going to be designing. Graphic design. But it wasn't like that at all. It was a plan on paper to close that learner gap so that the performance was better and, kids get better grades, or you can go into a business, assess the situation, and come up with the game plan to train their employees better so that they have the most optimal profits at the end.
So it sounds like it was more graphic design education versus graphic design practicality.
Yes,
okay.
I believe so. But it has a lot to do with education.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know all the different learning styles. And when you're doing probably the hardest part about the whole thing was the learning objectives.
Okay.
Because you got to come up with all this different verbiage and, use certain words because you want the trainer to be able to understand it, to tell that to their folks. We're already down to the last 20 seconds here, folks, of our first segment, and we're going to hear about Christian's organization when we come back, roughriders.org. We'll be having JJ from Reno Realtor coming on at the half-hour mark. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite non-profit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
As humans, we ask ourselves all kinds of questions. But what if we were forced to ask ourselves a question every day that affected the outcome of the most basic things, the most important things in our lives? The question is, what is your sexual orientation or gender identity? And the answer is the difference between keeping your job or getting fired. The answer is the difference between staying in your home or getting evicted. The answer is the difference between receiving medical treatment or not. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against people based on their answer to this question. LGBT Americans have the right to say I do, but they don't have the same basic rights as everyone else. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
I can't believe he found them.
He seems sorry.
We very clearly told him not to look up there.
I'm honestly impressed that he was able to do it.
Right? What, did he balance on that big chair?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll just know what his gifts are this year.
I really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presents, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, radio friends. It is another beautiful Wednesday morning here in Reno, and this is Business Connections with Anita. I'm your co-host, Christian Meyer. A couple quick shout-outs. Want to say hi to Willow Bill, JJ, and our wonderful CEO, Kelly Rush. All right. Before we get back to the topic of training and instructional design, I want to give a quick update on my dog rescue nonprofit, Rough Riders, and a lot of big things going on this week. So we got Mickey placed with a wonderful foster, fingers crossed, maybe turn into adopter. Bubba has a meet and greet today. So fingers crossed that goes well.
Oh, awesome.
We are currently, as we speak, running a wonderful little pup named Biscuit from Vegas all the way up to Olympia, Washington. So we've got some great volunteers who are out there, doing that legwork for us. And because transport is our main focus, we are raising money for 2 commercial vans upfitted with enough kennels that we can, move a lot of dogs at any given time. Our goal is $75,000, which if you look at 2 commercial vans, that is bargain basement pricing for what you get. And we have the wonderful support of Tito's Handmade Vodka that they are contributing $10,000 to the first $10,000 that we raise. If you want to learn more about us, what we do, or want to donate or contribute, you can head over to roughriders.org. That's RUFF riders.org, or hit us up on facebook.com/Rough Riders Saves.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that has trouble talking sometimes.
I'm telling you, it's this time change has me all out of whack.
I hear you. It's a hard thing to get used to, and I look up and the day's half gone, and I'm like, where did it go? Wait, oh yeah, time change, because you just feel out of balance for about a week or two until it starts sinking in. It was nice to have the sun out after 5 p.m., though. And sunset at 7. It was a little nice.
I'd rather get it in the morning when
I hear
I'm
you.
waking up in the pitch black.
I hear you. It's really hard to get going. Folks, today's topic is training and the role of instructional design. We have a lot of information to share with you today. In today's different industries, roles, and responsibility demand diverse types of employee training. This reality is a challenge at the organization level, where the training managers must provide personalized, effective training to potentially hundreds of new hires all at once. So here's the question. How can we provide high quality, cost-effective training that is tailored to each employee?
Well, and the big thing there is that, training has a direct impact on your bottom line. It's no secret that the workforce of well-trained employees is the foundation for a high-performance company. And when employees have all the resources and support they need to be successful in their role, they'll be more engaged and productive in their day-to-day work.
That is true, and the opposite is also true. Without proper training, employees will become frustrated. Have you ever had a job where you're frustrated because you didn't have all the information?
Or you're expected to know something that you don't know?
I can't tell you how many times I've been thrown into a job without no training whatsoever. And, I thank God I'm adaptable. Let's just put it that way. And almost to the point where I was one of those people where they could put in any department, especially at the printing company. I'd be in the pub room shipping out stuff to stores, or I'd be a tab checker, I'd be in quality, or I'd be on the line. And I was just one of those people that could move around, which are vital in a business. You have someone call in, you can throw this person over there for the day, and and have that education in the training.
Well,
you
it
know?
shows the importance of cross training. So that way, if somebody does call out sick or can't make it or goes out on maternity or paternity leave, it's easy enough to fill that role with somebody who's already there.
Yeah, a solid, well-planned training program is fundamental to success. Applying a few employee training best practices to your training module, it can really help new employees learn the ropes and thrive in their roles.
Yeah, and there's 5 employee training best practices that we're going to go over today. The first of which being create an agenda. So an agenda or employee training plan is one of the most crucial employee training best practices. First make a list of goals and performance indicators that'll help measure the success of that program. Those indicators and goals are based on who's involved and what they need to gain from that training. A customer success manager needs to learn different things than an account executive or an IT person, for instance. By clarifying those differences, you can also see which objectives all new employees have in common, regardless of the variance in their responsibilities.
And sometimes people from different cultures, you run into a communication block, and sometimes those have to be addressed in your training as well. We want to make sure that, we bring that up.
Well, not only that, but even if people are from the same culture, everybody learns in a different way. There's auditory learners, visual learners, auditory visual learners, and so incorporating all of those into your training will really help reach the most amount of people.
Yeah, and micromanagers. Okay, I don't do well with micromanaging. I don't think anybody does. So for those that like to be in control of everything and keep critiquing that, everybody works differently is what I'm getting at.
Right.
So if you're one of those managers that's picking out every single thing that person's not doing the correct way, try pointing out what they are doing correct. And you'll see the other things fall into place because you have to reward them too.
Right.
Yes, this is what we want. This is a productivity we want. When I worked in the printing company, we used to get these certificates. If our machine ran nonstop and there were no incidences or anything like that for hours, days sometimes, we'd get certificates worth money, value, and we could go to a store and get jewelry or this and that. Teppies was the name of the company back in the day, and we actually had one in Warsaw where you could go and pick out what you want, which was awesome. A lot of companies today have reward programs. I know Sally Beauty Supply has a pretty great reward program for their employees, and it's important to give those things.
Well, and ultimately, if the end goal of somebody's job is the desired goal, then it really doesn't matter how they do it. If it could be done more efficiently, simply make a suggestion as opposed to micromanaging and trying to take it on yourself. It goes a long way empowering your employees to grow, learn, and be successful.
Yes, and I think that this evolves too. I don't think you just get it all done. This will be an evolving thing that needs to go on throughout the lifetime of your business. Things don't stay the same, especially in business.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to be ready for that next step, the next step, and the next step. So making notes along the way of how you're being perceived and if the information is coming across. You can tell when you're talking to people if they're blank or, if they're actually getting it.
Right. And the thing is, if you are an employee and you do have a better way to do it, don't be afraid to bring that to your management or to the ownership and say, hey, I was thinking about doing it this way, would it be worth trying out? And hey, if it works, that might be incorporated into future training and just seeing how that business evolves.
Yes, and I think putting in the senses, when I trained for Sally's, they had the, you get to smell the product, okay, and then you had a workbook and a video. So you'd watch the video, you'd answer the questions in the book. You get to spend time coaching on those things that you learned with the manager. Then they did a little, let's get you away from this and let's get you on the cash register and let's get you to learn those.
Right.
And the keys and how to open it and do those things. They'd also give you a monthly quiz on the products that they gave you for reward. So, it was all a backup to get that production and those sales of where they wanted it.
Well, and that's the thing, if, especially in a training, if, something is being hammered over and over and over again, it's not for the sake of just repeating themselves. It's because, you're told something once and it's easy enough to forget that. But the more it's reinforced, the more it sticks with you.
Yeah, it's short-term memory versus long-term. The more repetition you hear it over and over or do it over and over, then that's long-term.
Exactly.
And that's what we want. We want to build that base employee workforce.
Yeah. For me personally, I've got this strange brain where I've got a repository of random pop culture stuff. I can tell you the actor, the character, what movie they were in, and what year it came out. But somebody that I just met 5 minutes ago, unless I remind myself of their name, I won't remember it.
Yeah.
And that goes to repetition and, learning how to learn.
Yep. And we're winding down to our next break.
Yeah, let's give the keyword before we go
Yeah,
out.
let's do that. Our keyword today is spring. Spring
Right around
forward, so we're going to do spring. The text number is 775-237-2266 for your chance to win. Please include your name. So
Please include your name.
Yep, and then Anita will text you after we get off the air and get all your information, and we'll get you one of these sweatshirts or one like it.
Exactly. And if you are only listening to us right now, go over to Facebook, Business Connections with Anita, pull up the video, and you can see exactly the sweatshirt that Anita is wearing right now.
Yep, or you can see them on businessconnectionswithanita.com, our merchandise store. You can learn more about me at afdesigns.online. I see Eddie standing over here off to my left. I just love that man so much. We'll be right back after these messages, folks. Stay with us.
The Butcher's Kitchen Charbecue invites your family in for the best wood-fire, slow-cooked barbecue rotisserie and open char pit food around these parts. Charbecue on the corner of Virginia and Huffacre presents sliced Santa Maria tri-tip, beef brisket, and ribeye. Charbecue caters your special events with the best tri-tip, pulled pork, and rotisserie chicken around Reno. Charbecue, The Butcher's Kitchen, 7689 South Virginia at Huffacre, Winners Crossing. Get in and get real. Charbecue, Reno.
At A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, we've been accomplishing happy feet for over 30 years.
We offer a various range of shoe styles and sizes for both men and women. From all-season shoes and orthotics to work boots and safety shoes, our professional and reliable staff possesses the knowledge to help you find the proper shoes to fit your needs. Hard to fit? Hard to find?
A Proper Fit Footwear is here to give our customers happy feet. We make people aware of potential foot problems as we're sizing their feet, suggesting the right arch support, and guiding them to the proper shoes for their needs.
Stop by A Proper Fit Footwear at 4001 South Virginia Street in the Reno Town Mall today, and allow the owner Mike Jones and our fabulous staff to find the perfect pair of shoes tailored to your specific needs.
A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, the home of happy feet, where comfort and your feet meet.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
You're invited to join Business Connections with Anita every Wednesday from 10 to 11 a.m. here on 1180 a.m. KCKQ America Matters.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Thanks for staying with us this morning, folks. We appreciate it. Our topic today is training and the role of instructional design. You can text the keyword spring along with your name to 775-237-2266. And we do appreciate all of you out there staying with us this morning. And if you'd like to take advantage of being a segment sponsor, you can do that and just email me and I'll get you the information, Anita@americamatters.us.
Yeah, probably the easiest way.
Yes, and we have some great new packages available for anybody wanting to take part in that. And we can work with any budget, Christian, can't we?
We certainly can. And our reach is worldwide.
Yes. I love that. Not only, I usually tell folks, not only local, but we reach the world. And before we get back to our discussion, we have JJ from JJ Reno Realtor from Solid Source Realty joining us for the real estate market update. You can reach JJ at 775-721-9975. Or like his Facebook page, JJ Reno Realtor, to see some great posts on some homes and the latest information on the market. Good morning, JJ.
How's it going, Anita?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, Christian. How you doing?
I'm well, JJ. How are you? Actually, you just answered that, so don't worry about it.
JJ, for a few weeks we've been given information about interest rate buying and selling tips. I also understand there's a new buying and selling guide out there. How can people get their hands on that?
Yeah, it's hot off the presses. Just came out a few days ago. Spring buyer's guide and spring seller's guide. Just get in contact with me. My email's jjarrettnv@gmail, or of course, go on Facebook and hit JJ Reno Realtor, and I'll get that sent over to anybody that wants them.
That's awesome. We are glad that you provide the information for our folks in our community or wherever. I guess we can email it so we can go worldwide with that too. Why not?
Yeah, if somebody's thinking about moving out to Reno or
vacation
wants
home,
to know more about the market in the area,
or the coronavirus hasn't fleeing to our area.
Yeah, exactly.
We're safe so far.
Yes. How long is a home typically for sale on the market right now?
Well, the information that just came out this week is, it says 111 days is the average amount of days on the market. I would say that's a little misleading. The higher price the home is, the more likely it's going to be on the market longer. If it's stuff that's under $400,000, that's nice and clean and a beautiful home, you might be looking at 1 day on the market. It's just crazy sometimes. So, if it's priced right, and that's why you want to call somebody like me to get it priced right. If you're in a hurry to get it sold, we kind of take all those factors into consideration. With the seller, is motivation time or getting the biggest sale price you can, all that kind of stuff. So that's how we can price your home right. So, yeah, the short answer to it is right now, if it's a house that a lot of people are going to like, you might only have a day or two to get a shot at it, to get an offer in.
Yep, I noticed things are dropping in price a little bit too lately, but they are going quick. The inventory, I think last week we learned, JJ, wasn't it only like a month and a half of inventory?
Yep, that's about it. 1.8, I think it's at right now. 1.8 months of inventory. That means it turns over. Especially the lower market turns over every month and a half or so. So, it's very important that you're prepared. We have you prepared with pre-approval and everything like that. So if we do find the house, we can jump on it.
That's awesome. Well, we look forward to actually seeing you here in the studio next week, and along with a couple of your colleagues, in the industry.
We're gonna announce an event we're having, a free event for people to come learn more about the real estate market and a lot of tips and ways to compete when you're out there trying to buy.
Yeah, that's a nice little tease. So make sure you tune in next week for that.
Yeah. JJ, we can't thank you enough for calling in. And I'll be touching base with you probably later today, if that's okay.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you then.
All right.
Another beautiful day, guys.
Yep, you enjoy it. Thank you again.
Thanks, JJ.
You bet. Bye-bye.
So awesome.
Yes.
That our housing market is doing that well.
Yeah. It's rare that it's both a seller's market and a buyer's market.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we need more houses out there for sale, so buyers have an option.
They're building them as fast as they can.
I know, it's crazy. I looked over here. It's over by the university, and I saw a crane yesterday sticking up out of the skyline there. So they're building more over there.
Get used to it.
I know. It's crazy. When you're from a small town, you're fascinated by the big, shiny things in the sky.
Yeah.
But we want to get back to our topic, training and the role of instructional design. That's our topic this morning. Once you know what your training needs are to accomplish your goal, you can create a training timeline. But remember, don't rush through the training. That's very important. Like we said earlier in the first segment, you get thrown into it, you're a little off. Exactly. And it takes you a while to get caught up.
Yeah.
It's almost like going out on a dance floor, Christian, for line dancing and not knowing the dance. It takes you a few rounds of everybody doing it for you to get it.
And if you're out of sync, you stick out like a sore thumb.
That would be me.
And so continuing on with our 5 best practices, number 2 is embrace digital tools. Traditional training methods like classroom learning and webinars are not as effective in the modern workplace, in which employees need to use multiple enterprise software on a daily basis. The use of cloud-based technology makes software learning even more challenging, forcing the employees to learn quickly on an ongoing basis. Digital training tools that allow contextual learning can help improve engagement and retention in your training program. Contextual learning is more effective due to its ability to collect context-based information about the learner to inform personalized real-time guidance. Again, structuring the training to the individual learner.
Mm-hmm. Which is our next topic here. The third best practice is to tailor to the different learning styles. We already segment training by job title, whether you're a manager or you're going to be on the production line or associate or whatever you are.
Yeah, the custodian doesn't need to know what the salespeople are learning.
That's true. They might give up right from the get-go there. But on top of it, it's important to tailor to the different learning styles. Classically, there are visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners.
Touchy-feely.
Touchy-feely, yeah. That's I like to watch it first and see it done a couple times, and then I want to try it. So I'm a hands-on learner. sometimes you can tell me, like if it's a computer, you can go, okay, you need to click this, do that, do this, do that. And I record that in my brain, and I go home and I mess with it until I get it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people learn that way. That's but you do want the vision, by watching a video on it. If you don't have, say you're a new startup and you don't have that equipment yet.
Exactly.
How are you going to train these employees before it comes?
Yeah. There's a big difference between learning how to do heart surgery by watching a YouTube video and actually doing heart surgery. Obviously, that's the extreme, but, it goes to show that, these all play an important role in the way people learn.
And that is true. And positive reinforcement, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It goes a long way to motivating the employees along with the learning path. Verbal reaffirmation, a certificate, a digital badge are all effective options. Now, I know in our robotics class, they all get a certificate saying that they passed the camp. And the smile on their face of achieving that reward is why I do it.
Yeah, and this sort of goes back to the, I would say almost fallacy of millennials versus boomers and the way that they learn. And, everybody wants to be rewarded or get a good job for doing a good job, And so by using that positive reinforcement, everybody's going to have a higher morale. We're sort of past the days of, if you do something wrong, you get berated and, you take your licks and that's the way it goes. That's just not the modern world these days.
Right. They work with you and they try and find a way that it does work for the person they're training.
Yeah.
I hired someone out of the country one time, and that was a challenge. Took her a lot longer to comprehend, and she wasn't real sure of our money. So counting the money for the drawer to make sure she had enough, those were challenges for her,
And hopefully she found her way to make it work.
Yeah, she found her way right out the door.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we had to, it just didn't work, We did everything we could, and we had already put too many hours into the training, 5 days turned into a month or more, and the company said no.
Sometimes you have to cut bait.
Sometimes it's better to do that and get someone in that can do the job. Folks, we're going to be taking another break and then coming back for our last segment already, Christian.
Time flies.
Okay, we'll be right back.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
1 in 3 adults in America have prediabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Years 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
Oh, welcome back. Sorry about that blank space. Just caught me off guard,
Just
Christian.
deep in thought, right?
I was deep in thought because I was thinking about Damani Ranch High School here in South Reno. They've been through quite a bit of tragedy, and people are standing out there and cheering, and our community's coming together to let those kids know out there that we really love them.
Well, and it's a sad circumstance that forces a community to come together.
Yes.
So we're glad that everybody is sort of rallying behind this, but it's unfortunate about why.
Yeah, and it's not all the same reason, which makes the problem more complex, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about those kids out there. Christian, we're going to wrap up with the last best practice, and then we'll go into a little bit of what instructional design does.
Perfect. Yeah, so number 5 on the best practices, solicit employee feedback throughout the training process. Open communication is among the most important employee training best practices. You don't have to wait until the training is over to begin soliciting feedback. The best time to get feedback on your training program is during it, while it's still fresh in the employees' minds. Now, saying that, make sure you fully understand what's being taught before you solicit feedback. Don't interrupt somebody in the middle of training if that's where they're headed to.
Right. I tend to do that.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because I already know, I've been through enough training that I can see, like I'll ask the question that's way at the other end or something, because I already see how it's coming together. Maybe that's just the way my brain works, and that's why we're going over all this, because to make that all click together for that person is the goal.
Yep. And if you are somebody who is the trainer or putting a training program together, give the opportunity to ask questions after each section or module or however you do it, so that way you can set up that expectation at the beginning. Hey, save your questions for the end of whatever this section is, and we'll be happy to address it then.
Yep. And here in a little bit, we're going to talk about this ADDIE model. It's basically your generic learning module, and evaluation is a big part of that, which is the getting the feedback from the people that took your training course, so that you can go back in and make those little strategy changes that you need to in the program to make it more effective.
Yeah, always improve.
Yep. The better training you have, the better workforce you're going to have, and the better bottom line you're going to have.
Absolutely.
So are we ready for this ADDIE model, Christian?
I think so. Real quick before we get there, we're still looking for a winner for our keyword spring to 775-237-2266. Make sure you include your name, but yeah, you got about 8.5 minutes left to text that over and win a wonderful sweatshirt.
That's right, and you can wear my name all over you.
Exactly.
But it's that branding has really been a fun project, and going into school and then coming into this and knowing what I know about business. I've worked in a lot of businesses, and My dad always said he liked to train people like he was just learning the job for the first time himself. He would go over every little step and things. And you can tell when someone's struggling in a certain part, so you may need to come along and coach them a little bit. Now, the ADDIE model has 5 phases. So you have your analysis or assessment. A lot of times those words are, intertwined. Interchanged. You can go in, see the operations. I would start by talking to the employees and getting their ideas on how to make it run better. And then see who's filling the bill and who's not filling the bill and who we need to get in there to fill that bill. That's where I would start if I was going into a business. The design is not designed like you think of. It's not moving walls or any of that. This is where you put it all together on how your slide's going to show up. Is it comprehensible for all the learning styles? You have the hands-on people, you have the people that are already intellectually, they don't want to listen to that because they already are got it or been through it.
Essentially, it's your outline and your workflow.
Yes, and then it becomes into development. So you get into the development of it, and that's the exciting part, is putting it all together and then the implementation of your work to see where they're at.
Seeing the fruits of your labor.
That's right. And then, of course, getting that evaluation at the end is probably one of the most important things, because then you can fix the weaknesses and create your own learning model.
Yeah. Now, I know that you teach a robotics course in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you apply this ADDIE model to your classroom training there?
I believe...
To some degree?
Yeah, because... we don't have a paper at the end of the thing that says, yeah, I really enjoyed my robotics class.
Well, to be fair, you're teaching 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds?
Middle school.
Middle school age, okay.
Yeah. So what I do is I ask them I'll just take you through a class.
Perfect.
Okay. So at the beginning, we have to put our Lego brick with our robotics parts and get that all up and going, and we can usually do that the first day. Some get into the programming already because they've already tinkered with stuff and they already know how to get it to do what they want to do. So then they put their program on the computer and they transfer it to their robot, and I make a maze on the floor with just tape, and then they run that robot through the tape, and I record them with a video, because sometimes it's a little tweak that they need to do and they're not getting it on the program. But if you watch it go through the maze, you go, oh, I see what it is. I got it going too far to the left or too far to the right. And so being able to have that tool, and they get excited because, they've made this progress and they're on the video, and, you can send it to their mom or whatever. And they have that pride of ownership of their robot. So they know everything about it from the building to the very end. We used to have a builder and then a programmer put two together. I feel that this is a little bit better way, because they know all the tickings of everything that goes on in that robotic.
Yeah, and I mean, coding and robotics is a great sort of metaphor for business in general, because if one of these kids sees this robot do something incorrectly, they can go in and find out where the mistake was, fix it, and they're more likely to learn from that than getting it perfect the right time.
Right, and they got to learn, how many degrees is that? How many degrees do I need to make that turn? And they can make those choices, and they can add sensors to it. If it bumps into something, it'll back up. There's a lot of fun things. It can recognize color, so sometimes we put different colored tape on the maze and make it do a certain thing when it hits the black tape or the yellow tape or whatever, and we just play with it and have fun with it. But the important thing is I don't let them get right into it each lesson. We go outside and we do our paperwork lesson first, and we discuss why a robot might need more power to go on an incline or less power to go down an incline. And we discuss all these different attributes of different things: automatic lights, flashing lights on a like a trash truck. What does that do for people? You know, it warns people, and you go into a discussion. And then I take them in and I let them start messing with the robot, because I learned you can't take them in there first.
Oh, no.
Because they want to get on that, and then you've lost their class.
And so you're teaching them the theory behind it before putting it into practical effect.
That's the attempt. And the touchy-feely, they get to do all that. And then while they're working on their stuff, I'll ask them, did you have fun today? What was the best part of today? And that gives me the feedback that I need to be a better teacher for the next class.
And that's basically the equivalent of your evaluation. While they're not filling out a survey at the end, you are getting that feedback and really finding out, okay, you know, what can I do to tweak things here or there to make it more entertaining or more informational, or, you know, help them grasp the concepts a little bit better.
Yep, and we just laugh and have fun and, you know, enjoy the outside summer a little bit. Usually they're in a camp in the morning, and then they're in my class in the afternoon. Most of them have been there all day, and they've been inside because they do offer 3D printing and all those too. So very good school. Reno Technology Academy, if anybody's out there interested.
I was going to say, now's the time where people are starting to plan, you know, the kids' summer camps and vacations. So
yeah, and you can sign up through their website, which is Reno Technology Academy, I believe, .com. And you could probably just put that in the search and it'll pull it right up. You can sign your kids up for those classes and see what they have available to further their learning and have a great time.
Well, I plan on putting my oldest one in your class.
Awesome.
He loves coding and robotics, and he loves just engineering anything.
Yeah, and they're really reasonable. And so, you know, when they go to my class, I take them outside for that little breath of refreshment. And then we go in and we get down and dirty and get busy with our robots and have fun with that.
Sounds like a blast.
Of course my class is a blast. Are you kidding? Anyway, what a great show.
Yeah, we're at the end. Hopefully somebody took at least one thing away from what we had to offer today.
I hope so. I'll be listening back and making sure we're coming across to all of our folks out there.
And leave your feedback and your evaluation on the
yeah,
on Facebook.
Yeah, leave your feedback and evaluation on Facebook. We would really appreciate it. Or any of the podcast platforms. You can leave us a review. Let us know what you thought. If you think we're whacked, we want to hear from you. You guys are the best part of our week. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an